Police are investigating a suspected arson fire earlier this week at the Oromo American Tawhid Islamic Center in St. Paul. That mosque sustained significant damage, but no people were injured. A 42-year-old man has been charged with arson. This is the sixth attack on a Muslim house of worship so far this year. Joining us now with more is Jelani Hussein, Executive Director of the Minnesota chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations. The suspect here is a Muslim.
Well, we don't know.
We're not sure?
We're not sure.
What do you make of this latest one?
I'm a little concerned. At this moment right now, we will hold off until we learn more information. We had this happen before. In 2021, we had an incident in Moorhead. A young man who attacked one of our mosques and then initially said he did it because he wanted to get attention and he likes Muslims. And then a few months later, we found out that he had 14 weapons at his home, and he belonged to a group of 3 people that had been saying things about Muslims. And so we'll wait off, but I think earlier, just basically what we were able to gather appears to be a copycat. Obviously, this individual had many issues and some form of mental illness, and that's a concern for us that we weren't really thinking about at all.
There have been several fires. Do you know, are the other ones connected at all?
Not really, but we want to find out if there's something that is potentially inciting, and we've asked the law enforcement to really look into that, some things online or anything else that potentially we're just not gauging. But it's a horrible trend. 9 last year, that's the most in the country, 6 this year, and they span from the urban communities as far as greater Minnesota. And this puts us in a really uneasy situation. But our community is extremely
I was going to ask about
resilient.
the community. Are they worried about not going to worship because of fear at all? Or
our community is very resilient. I know they understand that we are living in a world where Muslims have been targeted for a long time. I think the strengths of these attacks have really definitely shaken our community, and that puts us in a position where we want to do more security.
St. Paul Mayor Carter has pledged some money for security surveillance equipment, I guess. Is that a positive step? Are you going to hold them to that, or how's that going to go?
Absolutely. I mean, some cameras and some things, what we need to do basic level, and we've asked actually both House Speaker, Majority Leader, both of them about some last-minute funding that can help us.
Was it $7.5 million? I think
$7.5 million. We're looking just 150 house of worship, churches, synagogues that could at least use the basic level, which this Masjid Tawhid did not have their cameras working. So if we can get cameras, lighting, and doors, a lot of the times that could at least be the basic level of support that we need.
Is this a hearts and minds issue? I mean, are you feeling that Minnesota is unfriendly to folks of your religion, or where you put it in the whole kind of dynamics of the state?
Well, it's the opposite, actually. Minnesota is a very welcoming place. Many folks across the state have welcomed us. Minnesota has been successful. Many Muslims have been very successful in Minnesota. I think it's a combination of the fact that we have a very immigrant community, and sadly, but the anti-Muslim community across the country continues to target Minnesota. So there's a lot more chatter about our state that sometimes we're not privy to, that it could be accessible to some people online, and therefore create these kind of tensions. So, and that's something we knew. Election of Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, she gets death threats all the time. The man who's been arrested for the other 2 mosques, he was targeting her office multiple times, sending her emails. And so that's something we are noticing, that Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and the targeting of her nationally also brings additional pressure to our community here.
So I'm wondering here, you mentioned money to kind of bolster security. What else can be done?
Well, I think this is a moment where we have to realize that, it's much worse now than the 4 years of President Trump. But unfortunately, the response and the reaction has not been the same. Last year, 9 mosques, and most people really didn't even react. And so we need the general public to realize that we all need to take care and really wake up and realize that Islamophobia is real. It's impacting our communities, and we need people to step up.
Solidarity event on Sunday. Can you tell us quickly?
Yeah, we want our community to come together. We cannot let hate win. We also need to show support for each other, and so this is an opportunity for people to show up. It'll be an outdoor event outside the mosque, and we encourage people to show up and be supportive.
Appreciate you coming over. Thanks very much.
Thanks for having me today.
You bet.